When changes occur in our business, it can sometimes prompt us to panic and make hasty decisions, which then leads to frustration and potentially poor outcomes. However, when business decisions are made with intention, even in uncertain times or when change finds us unexpectedly, we open the door to clarity, growth, and new possibilities. In this episode, I'm sharing tips to help you make more intentional decisions in your business and offer some strategies that help me build a six-figure brand and navigate multiple economic downturns. So go grab your favorite beverage and let's dive in. After 8 years of running a product-based business and now transitioning into a service-based one, I've experienced a wide variety of landscapes, which have come with their fair share of decision-making. Some decisions infuse you with excitement and assurance, and others fill you with dread and sorrow. There are decisions that you have to make, whether you like it or not, and ones you want to make. But it seems that the most challenging decisions come from the when. When to take action, when to pause and wait, when to pull back, or when to throw in the towel. Of course, we can't fully prepare for every decision we must make or are going to make in our business, but we can build more awareness. This will help us stay flexible, resilient, and aligned when change and decisions inevitably show up. Helping conscious brands tap into intuition, intention, and purpose is a big part of what I do, whether it's through creating impactful visuals, sharing stories, or offering free tools. If you're interested in that, consider subscribing to the channel and liking this video for more of my content, or sign up to my newsletter with the link in the description box. If you can run your business with the assumption that things will change, then you'll be less shocked when change actually happens. I was someone who didn't expect my business to look so wildly different from when I first started, but that's because I did have expectations of it staying the same, and even expectations of me staying the same. But now I no longer see change as a surprise. I see it as part of its evolution and growth. I can see how letting go and allowing strengthened it, redefined it, and challenged what I know, feel, or believe in a good way. This letting go is uncomfortable because as humans we strive for security and predictability, and to even control certain circumstances. But just like perfection, all of that is impossible to attain because change is the nature of life. So being open to this will help you avoid stagnancy and resistance and invite in flow and creativity. But it's not necessarily easy and it won't be perfect. So if we can take the pressure off to make it easy, to make it predictable, to make it perfect, then we can welcome change with curiosity and not fear or resistance. So what prompts change in business? There's the external things that happens in the world, the economy, the community, or just doing business in general. And these changes are technically easier to see because we can look at data and numbers, and we can listen to the news and speak to other business owners. We can watch trends. And we have access to these tangible things. And then there are the internal changes that occur, whether that is personal or within the business itself. And these changes can be tougher to see and predict because they usually occur under the surface. It's the lessons that we learn or the patterns that we consciously shift, even evolving needs or desires. So what are the things that we can notice that can help us get ahead of the changes that might occur? Well, we can look at the practical cues. We can watch the numbers to see trends month over month, year over year. It might show you declining engagement, sales, views, clicks, etc. We can be connected to our community or our customers, or stay on the pulse of worldly events, which can help inspire change or allow us to make adjustments ahead of time. This actually happened in 2020. I started my business full-time in January, and then in March, the pandemic hit, and I was left scrambling along with the rest of the world. But what was interesting in this space is that I couldn't just sell anything. I had to get creative on what I was going to sell. And I came up with the concept of greetings from home postcards. Because travel had been suspended, nobody was going to new places and sending souvenir postcards to friends and family. So I created a set of postcards that were souvenirs being sent from home. And I could not keep them on the shelf. So by staying in touch with where the world was at and meeting community where they were at, I was able to create something that people were excited about, that offered a little bit of levity in a heavy situation. Then there are the emotional cues that we can look to, like burnout or resentment, boredom, lack of joy. On the other end of the spectrum, it could be excitement, inspiration, even just an internal knowing. This actually happened with me in my product-based business in 2023. As I started to see the numbers trend down, both retail and wholesale. This told me, because it happened over a period of months, told me that something in the economy was shifting. Even though nothing had technically shifted, I could see buying patterns shifting already. So I started reducing my expenses. I started not bringing in as much inventory as the economy slowly went on a downturn. And this prompted a bigger question or a bigger decision of, is my product-based business sustainable in the long term? Can it recover? More importantly, am I willing to continue to grow it beyond this? At that point, I had been dealing with massive burnout, which I talked about in a previous episode, and a general misalignment to the product-based business and the product-based space. So that required me to completely shift directions from products to service, and I'm still in that transition. However, by connecting in with my burnout and looking at economic conditions, I could then make an informed decision about where I wanted to take my business next and what decisions were required in order for me to do that. So I'll pose some questions for you to ask right now, which I encourage you to sit with and take your time with if you're at this space of wondering what next decision you need to make and how. So what's no longer working? And this may highlight what needs to change. What do you feel pulled towards? This may indicate what you want to change. Are you making decisions from fear of letting go or complete clarity? This will identify how you are making decisions, which may result in change or not. And finally, what's the worst that can happen? Maybe if you continue going in the way that you are, or even if you make a decision, whether big or small. And this can show you potential outcomes of your decisions to help you prepare, strategize, or plan. So the bigger question of when to persevere, when to pull back, when to pause, when to shift, there's no real right answer. There's no playbook, there's no rules, there's no guidelines to refer to, unfortunately. The only thing you can do is take the time to get to know your business, those external factors that might play into your business, both good and bad, so that you can eventually differentiate between a rough patch and a deeper misalignment. Also, get to know yourself and those internal factors of your business and how they play into where your business goes and how your business changes. But there's great value in taking a temporary pause to reassess before making any decision. And even if you have to come to a decision, know that experimentation is okay and that you don't have to completely burn everything down. Small changes and adjustments and experimenting to see what works can create major shifts in the right direction for you. In the end, sometimes you'll discover that the business that you've created or built is no longer aligned with you anymore, regardless of what has influenced that. So that's when it's time to take a considerable break or put things on idle to consider what bigger shifts are needed, and that's okay. Be gentle and take each decision one intentional step at a time. Thanks so much for listening and sharing this space with me today. If you resonated with this episode or have suggestions for future topics, like this video and let me know in the comment section. Everything else you'd like to explore about my services or newsletter can be found in the description box. Until next time, my friends, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next episode.